Good evening, my friend. Before you switch off the light tonight, before your head settles into the pillow and the noise of this long day finally fades into silence, I want to ask you for just a few calm minutes, because what I am about to share with you may change the way you think about your evenings forever. Most people believe the day is over once dinner is finished. They believe the body simply winds down and goes quiet, but that is not what happens at all. In fact, some of the most important work your body will do in the next 24 hours begins only after you fall asleep. And nowhere is that work more important than inside your brain. While you are resting, your brain is not shutting off. It is repairing. It is sorting memories. It is clearing waste. It is strengthening connections. It is deciding what to keep, what to file away, and what to let go. That means the final foods you eat before bed can either support that process beautifully or quietly sabotage it night after night without you ever realizing it. And that matters even more after the age of 60. Because once we move into our 60s, 70s, and beyond, the brain becomes far more sensitive to inflammation, blood sugar swings, poor sleep quality, and nutrient deficiencies. Little habits that once seemed harmless begin to carry a bigger price. That late-night cookie, that bowl of ice cream, that habit of going to bed hungry after a long, stressful day, that processed snack eaten in front of the television. These things may seem small, but over time they can make the difference between waking up mentally clear and waking up in a fog. I want to be very clear with you from the start. I am not talking about fancy powders, miracle pills, or some expensive supplement being pushed by clever marketing. I am talking about real food, ordinary food, food you can find in a grocery store, food that can nourish the brain during the exact window when the brain is doing its deepest overnight repair work. And here is the heartbreaking part. Most older adults have never been taught this. No one sat them down and explained that what they eat in the last hour or two before sleep can affect memory, mental sharpness, inflammation, and even how well the brain cleans itself overnight. Tonight, that changes. My name is Dr. William Lee, and for decades I have studied how food communicates with the body at the cellular level, where health is either protected or slowly lost. And what I want to share with you tonight is one of the most practical, most powerful strategies I know for supporting the aging brain in a simple, natural way. Before we get to the list, I want you to hold on to one thought. The number one food on tonight's countdown is a food many older adults have been wrongly taught to fear, avoid, or limit too aggressively. Yet when eaten the right way and at the right time, it may be one of the most powerful allies your brain can have after 60. I will reveal it at the very end, and I strongly encourage you to stay with me all the way through, because that final food is the one I would want people I love to know about most. And before we begin, I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below and tell me your age, and tell me honestly whether you have noticed any changes in your memory, focus, or mental sharpness over the last few years. Even something small, misplacing things more often, walking into a room and forgetting why you went there, losing the thread of a conversation, taking longer to remember a name. You are not alone in that, and I want to know you are here with me. Now let us begin. We are counting down from 5 to 1. From highly beneficial to the single most powerful bedtime food for supporting memory and brain repair after 60. Number 5 is kiwi. This one surprises people because kiwi is not usually the first food that comes to mind when someone thinks about brain health. Most people think of it as a light fruit, a refreshing fruit, maybe something you eat with breakfast or as part of a fruit salad. But kiwi has a very special advantage at night, and that advantage begins with sleep. If memory is the treasure, sleep is the vault. Without deep, uninterrupted sleep, the brain cannot properly store what you experience during the day. It cannot consolidate memory the way it should. And one of the best things you can do for memory after 60 is to improve the quality of that overnight sleep naturally. Kiwi helps here in a beautiful way. It contains serotonin-supporting compounds, antioxidants, and vitamin C, all of which can help calm the body and support better sleep timing. And better sleep does not just make you feel rested. Better sleep gives the brain more time in the very stages where memory is processed, protected, and reinforced. Think of it this way. During the day, your brain is collecting papers and stacking them on a desk. At night, during healthy sleep, it sorts those papers into the right folders. If sleep is short, fragmented, or shallow, that sorting never happens properly. Things get misplaced. Retrieval becomes harder. The next day you feel less clear, less steady, less sharp. Kiwi also delivers antioxidants that help combat oxidative stress, one of the silent pressures that builds in the aging brain over time. Oxidative stress damages delicate brain cells and can interfere with the communication between them. That communication is everything. Your memory depends on it. Your ability to think clearly depends on it. Your sense of mental confidence depends on it. Eat 1 or 2 kiwis about an hour before bed. Simple, gentle, effective. No heavy preparation, no sugar overload. Just a small step that can help prepare the brain for the kind of sleep where real repair begins. Now let us move to number 4. Number 4 is pumpkin seeds. These tiny seeds may look humble, but they are packed with nutrients the aging brain deeply depends on, especially at night. Pumpkin seeds are rich in magnesium, zinc, iron, and healthy fats, and each one of those plays a role in protecting memory and supporting the chemistry of the brain. Let us start with magnesium, because this is where things get very interesting. Many adults over 60 are not getting enough magnesium, and low magnesium is often connected to poor sleep, muscle tension, nighttime restlessness, and increased stress reactivity. But magnesium is not just about muscles. It matters profoundly for the brain. It helps regulate the nervous system, supports relaxation, and plays a role in synaptic plasticity, which is the brain's ability to strengthen and reshape the very connections where learning and memory live. In plain language, magnesium helps your brain stay adaptable. It helps keep the circuitry more responsive and less strained, and that matters enormously as we age. Then there is zinc. Zinc is one of those minerals people rarely think about until they are deficient, but the brain depends on it for communication between neurons and for protecting against inflammation. When zinc runs low, the brain may not function as smoothly, and older adults can be especially vulnerable to that decline. Pumpkin seeds also contain tryptophan, which can support the body's natural pathway toward relaxation and sleep. So here again, we see a bedtime food doing 2 things at once. It supports the chemistry of sleep, and it nourishes the brain while that sleep is happening. A small handful is enough. Not a giant bowl, not a salted, sugary trail mix, just a modest serving of plain pumpkin seeds, ideally about 45 to 60 minutes before bed. If you want something easy, this is one of the simplest brain-friendly bedtime foods you can keep in your kitchen. And if this information is already making you look at your evenings differently, take a moment right now to press that like button and subscribe. I share these videos for people who want to protect not just how long they live, but how well they live, how clearly they think, and how independently they age. And every time you subscribe, you help this information reach someone who may desperately need it tonight. Now let us step into the top 3. Number 3 is tart cherries. Not candy, not cherry syrup, not sugary cherry desserts. I am talking about tart cherries or unsweetened tart cherry products. And the reason they matter at bedtime is because they support one of the most precious systems in the body after 60, the sleep-memory connection. Tart cherries are naturally rich in plant compounds and are known for supporting melatonin levels. Melatonin is often spoken about as if it is only a sleep hormone, but it is much more than that. It helps regulate timing, it helps tell the brain when to shift into nighttime mode. It helps support the rhythm that allows repair to happen on schedule. And the brain loves rhythm. When sleep timing is disrupted over and over again, memory suffers, focus suffers, mood suffers. The brain's cleanup systems may work less efficiently. And for older adults, even mild sleep disruption can lead to surprisingly noticeable changes in next-day clarity. Tart cherries also bring powerful antioxidants to the table, especially compounds that help fight inflammation. And inflammation is one of the biggest hidden enemies of memory as we age. It does not always arrive dramatically. Sometimes it works quietly in the background for years, interfering with circulation, irritating brain tissue, and making the environment inside the brain less hospitable for healthy communication and repair. I have spoken with so many older adults who think the only thing happening to them is normal aging, when in reality, there are modifiable forces at work. Poor sleep, excess inflammation, unstable blood sugar, low intake of protective nutrients. These things are not destiny, they are patterns. And patterns can be changed. A small glass of unsweetened tart cherry juice, or a modest portion of tart cherries if available, can be a very smart evening choice. The key is unsweetened. We want support, not a late-night sugar spike. We want calm, not chaos. And now we come to number 2. Number 2 is walnuts. If there is one food that looks like it was designed by nature to hint at its purpose, it is the walnut. Even its shape resembles the human brain. And while I do not make health recommendations based on appearances, I will say this: walnuts truly are one of the most brain-friendly foods you can eat, especially after 60. Walnuts provide plant-based omega-3 fats, polyphenols, and antioxidants that help defend the brain against inflammation and oxidative stress. But what makes them especially valuable at night is that they offer steady nourishment without creating the kind of sharp blood sugar disturbance that many evening snacks do. That matters more than most people realize. When blood sugar rises sharply late at night and then crashes, sleep quality can suffer. Hormones can be disrupted. The brain's repair work can become less efficient. And over time, repeated sugar spikes may contribute to inflammation and metabolic stress that the brain pays for dearly. Walnuts are different. They are satisfying, rich, and deeply nourishing. They provide healthy fats that support cell membranes, including the membranes of brain cells themselves. Those membranes need to remain flexible and healthy so signals can pass efficiently from one cell to another. When that signaling weakens, memory and processing speed can begin to feel slower, duller, less reliable. Walnuts also pair beautifully with other foods on this list. A few walnuts alongside kiwi or with a spoonful of unsweetened tart cherries can create a balanced bedtime option that feels comforting without burdening the body. I want to mention something here that many people over 60 have quietly experienced but rarely say out loud. It is not only memory loss that frightens people, it is the loss of trust in their own mind. Forgetting where you placed your keys is irritating. Forgetting the word you wanted in the middle of a sentence can feel deeply unsettling. Forgetting whether you took your medication can be frightening. That is why these small nightly habits matter, because they are not about perfection. They are about preserving confidence, clarity, and independence for as long as possible. A small handful of walnuts, about 30 to 60 minutes before bed, can be a wonderful habit to build. Plain, simple, and powerful. And now we arrive at number 1. This is the food I asked you to wait for. This is the food many people have been told to fear. And this is the food I believe deserves far more respect than it gets, especially for the aging brain. Number 1 is eggs. Yes, eggs. A lot of older adults spent years hearing mixed messages about eggs. Too much cholesterol, too rich, too heavy, too risky. And because of that, many people unnecessarily pulled back from one of the most nutrient-dense, brain-supportive foods available. Eggs are extraordinary for the brain because they deliver several nutrients that matter deeply for memory and mental function, especially choline, vitamin B12, high-quality protein, and lutein. Let us begin with choline, because this is the star. Choline is essential for making acetylcholine, one of the most important neurotransmitters involved in memory and learning. If your brain is trying to form, store, and retrieve memories, acetylcholine is one of the chemical messengers helping make that happen, and many older adults are not getting enough choline. That is a problem, because memory does not rely only on one grand dramatic system. It relies on small things being available when needed. Enough sleep, enough circulation, enough stable energy, enough protective nutrients, enough neurotransmitter support. Choline helps provide that support. Eggs also contain vitamin B12, and B12 becomes increasingly important after 60 because absorption can decline with age. Low B12 levels are associated with fatigue, brain fog, poor concentration, and memory difficulties. Many people do not realize how much of their mental dullness may be tied to nutrient insufficiency. Then there is the protein. The brain may not be made of muscle, but it depends on amino acids for repair, signaling, and maintenance. A light protein-rich food in the evening can help provide the body with steady building blocks through the night, without the destructive roller coaster that comes from refined carbohydrates and desserts. And eggs bring one more gift: satisfaction. When people eat something truly nourishing in the evening, they are less likely to go hunting through the kitchen later for cookies, crackers, ice cream, or processed snacks that disrupt sleep and feed inflammation. 1 or 2 eggs in the evening, prepared simply, can be a beautiful choice. Boiled eggs, soft scrambled eggs, even as part of a light dinner a couple of hours before bed, not buried under processed meats or heavy fried foods, just eggs, prepared gently, giving the brain what it needs without overload. And that is why they earn the #1 spot. Because when you look at the aging brain and ask what it truly needs at night, eggs answer that question remarkably well. They provide key nutrients for memory chemistry, steady protein for repair, and support without the instability of sugary bedtime foods. So let us bring it all together: kiwi, pumpkin seeds, tart cherries, walnuts, and eggs. 5 foods that can support the sleeping brain naturally. 5 foods that can help improve the conditions under which memory is protected, repaired, and strengthened after 60. 5 simple ways to turn the final hour of your day into something powerful instead of accidental. You do not need to overhaul your entire life tonight. You do not need to do everything perfectly. You do not need to eat all 5. You simply need to begin. Choose one. Keep it simple. Stay consistent. Let your evenings become intentional. Because the truth is, the brain is always listening to what you do repeatedly. Night after night, week after week, year after year. And if you have made it all the way to the end with me, I want you to comment the word memory below so I know you were here, and tell me which of these 5 foods you would actually be willing to try tonight. Thank you for spending these minutes with me. If this gave you even a little hope, share it with someone you love. Press like. Subscribe if you have not already. And remember this: aging is real, yes, but decline is not something you should surrender to without a fight. This is Dr. William Lee, and I will see you in the next one.